Hey everyone, it's Miss Freight, and I'm here to talk to you about our next element of storytelling, which is symbolism. So hopefully you guys have heard about symbolism before in some of your other English classes, but just in case you haven't or you need a refresher, symbolism is when an ordinary object is used to represent a bigger idea. Symbolism uses symbols to represent ideas that go beyond what is physically present. We actually have symbols all around us. We experience them pretty much every day in our normal lives. We see symbols when we look at company logos or traffic signs. A lot of the things around us are used to represent bigger ideas. They also play a really important role in literature. So, in order for an item to be considered a symbol, it must be concrete. That means that it has to be physical or tangible things that can be seen, touched, or in some cases heard. So ideas like love or sadness, those can't be symbols because they're not concrete. They're not objects. You can't sense them. These ideas can be represented by symbols, but they can never be the symbol itself. So let's practice. Hopefully everybody knows what this symbol means, especially because you guys can drive now, and if you don't know what this means, it's going to cause a lot of accidents. This is obviously a stop sign, and when we see it, we know that we're supposed to stop. Even if it didn't have the word stop on it, we would still know what it means because this is such a common symbol in our culture. Crosses are another symbol that represent a certain type of religion. So obviously when you see people wearing a cross, you know that they are probably Christian. Or when you see a cross on a building, you can guess that it's probably a church. This symbol is a gesture that people make, and obviously it indicates peace. So this is an example of a person being a symbol. This person is Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and he is a symbol for the civil rights movement that occurred in the 1960s. And this is obviously the sign for Apple Computers, or the Apple Company. So if you see somebody with like a sticker on their car or their backpack or something, you know that that person is a big fan of Apple products. In our culture, we use wedding rings to symbolize commitment to one another. So when people get married, they wear these rings in order to show that they are committed to the person that they are married to and that they are no longer single but part of a union. Okay, so now that we've talked about what symbolism looks like in our everyday lives, we're going to talk about what symbolism looks like in literature. So authors use symbolism in their writing in order to provide meaning to the stories beyond what is actually on the page. So plot, characters, and conflict give a surface level understanding of the text. This is what happened, here's who was involved. But symbols help the reader reach a deeper level of understanding. So usually it's going to connect to an important idea in the book, sometimes maybe even a theme. The interpretation of a symbol depends on personal experience, so what we go through in our everyday lives, or the background information that the author gives you in the story. So because there are a few different ways to interpret symbols, you have to think through what the author is telling you in the book. So if this dollar bill was brought up in a story, you would have to consider, how would a rich person interpret this symbol? How would a poor person interpret this symbol? And how would you interpret this symbol in a text if, in a book, a character had stacks of money on his desk blocking his view of his family portrait? Because of the background information that the author is giving us and the description of the actual symbol, we would probably interpret this symbol to mean greed affecting his family life, because the money is blocking his family portrait, so he can't see his family because he's so focused on the money. Let's try with another symbol. This is a symbol of a tree. But consider, in a book, if a character in a book stands under the tree during a storm, this tree would probably represent something like survival or safety because the tree is sheltering it. In another story, maybe two characters who are in love come back to the tree after every fight they have. And so then for them, this tree would represent their love, their commitment to each other, and their desire to get through their fights. So, let's practice with some literature that hopefully you guys are all very familiar with. The first is in the series Harry Potter. Snakes come up again and again throughout the stories. Harry Potter fights a snake in the Chamber of Secrets. Voldemort has a pet snake that goes everywhere with him. And the crest for Slytherin has a snake as the symbol on the front. Because all of these experiences or situations are related to evil, Slytherins are considered evil characters in a lot of cases. Voldemort is the antagonist in all the stories, and the giant snake in the Chamber of Secrets is trying to kill everybody. It would be safe to assume that the symbol of the snake means evil or bad. There are also things called universal symbols. A universal symbol is something that is used throughout literature in all different eras and genres, but they usually mean the same thing. So, for example, the color white, like the white rose, represents purity or innocence. So, if you have a character that is dressed in white, usually it's going to mean that they are a very pure, innocent character. Rain is another universal symbol that is used a lot to mean sadness or depression. A lot of times in movies or in books, when a character is upset or doesn't know what to do, it's going to be symbolically represented by what's going on around them in terms of the weather. So, a lot of rain, thunderstorms, lightning, stuff like that. So, you might be wondering, okay, how do I identify a symbol when I'm reading? And sometimes it can be difficult, but there are 4 very easy steps that can help you. You want to look for objects that are concrete. So you can automatically rule out things like emotions or thoughts. Those aren't going to be symbols because they're not concrete objects. The objects need to be able to be touched, seen, or heard. You also want to pay attention to the things that are repeated throughout the story. So a symbol is always going to come up more than one time. Something that's mentioned just once in a story isn't going to be a symbol. So you want to look for concrete objects that are repeated throughout the story and that are accompanied by a lot of description. Because symbols are really important and the author wants the reader to understand what the symbols mean, they're going to give these symbols a lot of description. So anything that the author goes into detail about that's an object could be a symbol. And finally, you want to see what seems very important. So if the author focuses on it a lot, or if a character is obsessed with a certain thing, it's very possible that that thing is a symbol. All right, so that's it for notes. Hopefully everything you saw made sense to you, but if it didn't, that's okay. You can email me, you can talk to a friend, or you can ask me questions when you see me in class. You can also stay tuned for the roommate review session that's going to happen right now. Hey everyone, it's Miss Freight, broadcasting live from my house. These are my roommates, Kate and Erin, and they're going to help us review Symbolism today. Yay! We are excited. Erin is not. All right.
Is strong.
So the first question is for Erin. Erin, what is the definition of symbolism?
It's when an ordinary object stands for a bigger idea.
Ding, ding, ding! Erin got it right! It's almost like she has more than one college degree.
Uh-oh, I'm at a disadvantage here.
Second question is for Kate. Kate, why would an author use symbolism in their work?
To confuse students.
That is not why authors use symbolism.
My bad. To reinforce an important idea and to help you understand things more deeply.
Yay! Kate got it right too. All right, Erin, how do you identify a symbol in literature?
Okay, well, it has to be something that happens multiple times, repeated in the story.
It needs to be repeated.
They have to actually talk about it in depth, describe it.
It needs to be described.
Has to be an object. It's not an idea. It's an object that stands for an idea, and has to be something that's important to the story.
Yay! Erin got all 4 characteristics of a symbol. She's so smart. All right, Kate, this is a really tough one. Can you give us an example of a universal symbol?
Doves.
Kate, what do doves represent?
Peace. Thank Chris. I was like, I'm going to get this one wrong.
They represent peace.
Universally.
And this one is going to be a timed one, so they're going to have to raise their hand first to answer it correctly. Yeah. Which of the following is not a symbol? Tree, dove, fire, sadness. Oh, Kate won, and Erin didn't raise her hand.
I hit the buzzer.
Kate, which of the following is not a symbol?
Sadness.
Why is sadness not a symbol?
Because it's a feeling, not a concrete object.
Yay! Oh my gosh, we're so smart. It's almost like I prepped them for this. Okay, so we've reviewed together. It might be important for you guys to know those things because maybe they'll show up on a test. And I hope that you found this Symbolism Flip video very informative and full of Northwestern spirit. So I'll see you guys in class soon and have a good weekend.